Okay. Hi everyone. Uh, if you're able to hear my voice loud and clear, so just say yes into the chat. Okay. Fine. Good enough. So let's start with the session. Yes. Okay. Got it. So last time we are doing the case study part. So we have just left with the end part of the case study. Okay. So I think again the format has been lost. Not an issue. I will be sharing my screen. Okay. So I hope everyone is able to see the share screen. Fine. So we have already started discussing the case study part, right? So we have seen the last planner, we have seen into the last time. Even we have seen the how exactly the last planner when we are doing the execution part has been moved to a 6 week look ahead plan. It means whatever we have done a broader level scale planning for my project. So I'm going to look after for the next 6 weeks, or sometimes into our case, maybe 1 month. But in this particular site, they are seeing the element for a next 6 weeks look ahead plan. Right. So we have already seen into the last time. Similarly, the variance analysis, right? Before that, it was just they're finding out or they're tracing out the duration, right? But now the project manager will try to find it out the reasons behind the delay, or maybe the root cause of the delay. So even we have seen the different teams available for doing the same. Even the increase in the visualization, right? In the terms of commitment charts, we have already seen the general vice president used to say the sign. Even we have seen the example of LNT. Similarly, the mobile science project milestone group meetings, right? In that they have created an initiative of not calling for the engineers or the managers of the front site, but even the foremen, experienced foremen, company foremen, those who are very experienced and working for the company on the behalf of company payroll, they have been also called for the meeting to give their inputs critical for the different critical elements. Even the toolbox meeting, or we have seen the start of the day meeting. So we have seen the stats already, how many of the laborers find it is interesting, it is much more effective, right? Only by spending 10 to 15 minutes. Similarly, the plan do and check act means the first run studies. So in that, what they have carried out, they have taken two important critical elements to understand the plan do check act into the site. So what they have taken the bumper wall installation and the construction joint installation for the study of the material. So they have done all the basic level of the planning into these two construction elements of that complete case study building, right? Then in the do condition, so they have make allowed all the inputs come from a different stakeholders, like it may be foreman, it may be a frontline engineer and the manager, and according to that the plan has been slightly modified by taking all the critical elements in the discussion, right? Then before starting with the execution of the same, everything has been cross checked, everything has been scheduled into a micro level, and then the actual execution part has been done. And after doing that actual execution, it has been find it out that the result shows more than 38% reduction in the cost of the bumper wall. So you're able to see, I can take just around like 35 to 40% reduced into the bumper wall, which is one of the most expensive activity of that particular building, and 73% reduction in the cost of the construction joint. So that is the output which we are able to see into this lean practice followed into the site. Then the 5S, in that the sort means appropriate housekeeping has been done. So all the material has been sorted, kept separately into their specific areas, right? Then the straightening means material will piled into a regular pattern. Generally what happen whenever we are stacking the any kind of a tools, or we can say some of the equipments required for the labor into a sheds, So we generally don't change the places, so that the labor is well when knowing where exactly they need to look for the full body harness, where exactly they need to look after the masonry elements. So they're knowing where exactly the needle vibrator has been kept, whatever the elements they have sorted out as making as a statement element. Then the standardize, right? In that they have prepared a material layout design, right? The site was look much more better in the visualization. The laborers are feeling much more safer and much more productive into the site. Even there is a lot of enough space who has been created for the marching of the crane, right? And the repetition, which we call as a principle of less movement of the material, right? That has also has been followed into this particular site. Similarly, the shine, that is the keeping the clean job site. So what they have done into this particular site, um, the gang members or the which is having a big quantum of the labors, right? For example, any gang member who's having around 30, 35 labors. So out of that, they have dedicated a single labor as a responsibility. The labor is responsible for keeping the site clean after the construction activity. Right? For example, if any kind of a construction activity is going on, he just need to check that he's making the site clean. Or after the construction activity, he's responsible that all the workplace has been cleaned or has been appropriately stacked out. For example, if there is some kind of a shuttering work is done, right? So you may have taken some of the extra material, you have taken some kind of extra city props, right? So he just need to take that extra city props and again want to stack where exactly the city props has been stacked into the site. So that is the activity or that is the work has been allocated to a one labor of a big gang for the particular zone as per the zoning they have been done. So housekeeping labor was set to check and clean the hidden areas on the job site. Sustain, that is a difficult thing which they have find it out into the site. So previously in around like 4.5 month that was tried to be implemented rigorously into the site, but the sustainability of the 5 years was not seen into the site. The conclusion which we were able to find it out, the final level of the housekeeping sought to maintain all the previous practices throughout the project. That was basically the sustainable. But what we find at the end of the project, that the level was not fully achieved, right? Because maybe it was not continuously hampering from the frontline engineers or whatever the root causes. That practice was followed hardly for 4.5 months. They are not able to make it sustain, specifically the housekeeping element for this 5S lean practices, right? Then the fail safe for the quality, that is a check for the quality. So all the things has been tried to follow with the QMS, and the power has been given more to the quality person, right? And similarly for the safety person, so they have given a much more power, so that uh, they are into much more commanding position. So they are like when they are given a more power, so that they are reporting directly to the project managers, that is going to give a threatening to the frontline engineers, that they need to follow the work into the quality and even the safety. Otherwise, if they're not going to follow, so everything will be conveyed to the project managers, and at the way reverse way, it may be hamper their progress or whatever the promotions activity. So this thing has they have tried to follow it into the site. Okay. So this thing we have already seen many of the parts, so that we have just covered the remaining part of the last element. Right? So let's start with this today's topic, that is advanced construction technology. Okay. So let's start with the first technology. Right? Nowadays, this is a very common scene. Like we are able to see the concrete everywhere. It was like a continuously a lot of, like if you're doing any kind of like large scale project or high rise building, if you're going to stand on your building at some of the height, you're going to find a lot of messy thing in around your site, right? This is completely a construction jungle. And the things is very common, like the statement I have stated into the slide, right? Akshay, we need you right now, right here, right? Some kind of spare parts was not getting available, or in the terms of the precast site, I'm not able to find it out some of my component. I have unloaded some of my rebars of 32 dia. I'm not getting it right now into my site. I don't know where it is vanished. So this thing is very common. The reason is that why I'm saying this thing is very common. In our construction industry, there are a lot of vendors are there, or I can say there are a lot of subcontractors are there. So there may be a possibility the one material can be consumed or used by some other parties or some other vendors. Here and there is a lot of possibilities of getting theft internally and even the externally. So these are the things very common, right? We have kept somewhere around the thing. Sometimes some kind of a backfilling has been done, or some kind of a soil has been dropped onto that element. The element is completely hidden into the soil. I'm not able to trace down it. So this thing is very common into our construction industry, specifically when the FSI is high or into the infrastructure projects. But no issue is, what is the solution? What is the solution for such kind of a things into our site? And this is our first learning, or this is our first technology which we are going to explore in today's session. That is the RFID, radio frequency identification device into the construction industry. So let's try to understand what exactly that is. This is not any kind of a advanced technology. Some of the part we have already used into our day-to-day life, but it is little bit different than that. We will try to understand, but let's try to understand the basic concept. What is a RFID? RFID is a radio frequency identification device. So it is basically automated data collection technology, right? It is a wireless, non-contact system, right? And it is work on the basis of tag system, or we can say the tag attached to it. Right? I will try to convince into a very simple flow diagram. I will try to illustrate that. What exactly that? Just try to understand. RFID is like a paper kind of elements, like just a paper size, this much, this much. It's just a small paper, right? It is having a chip inside, right? I am going to put that chip into my material. Just take a case. I am having a precast beam, right? So I have put that paper, stick that paper into that. So that is not going to be wear and tear by the rain and all that. So that is a safeguard. So I'm just going to paste, or just going to have stick that RFID into my precast beam. Okay. The way every system, every mobile is having IMA number, or every laptop is having a different ID. Similar way, every chip is having a different ID. So that ID number in my system, I have been referred as precast beam, whatever the name of the beam is, second floor, 32 B1 32, whatever. I'm going to put that identification code according to me, so that I can able to understand where exactly that beam is going to be used, or whatever as per the drawing number, or as per the my working drawings reference number, right? So the chip which I have put it around, that I am going to have into my system, right? Now the system is, when I'm in my computer, that will be like a small pen drive kind of element. When I'm going to plug it that, right? So it is having an inclusive of the antenna. So whenever I need to find any of my material, so I'm just going to open the software of the different, whatever the company's RFID I'm using. So I'm just going to on that software, right? From that pen drive kind of element, that is going to start emitting the signals, right? And it is emitting the signals on the 360 degrees. So wherever the material is there, they are going to receive the signal and going to respond it. And from that, in my system, by sitting into my container into AC room, I am able to find it out where exactly that material is right now. I'm going to get the exact location of that material into my site. This is the way actually the RFID works. In that, we are having a two type of RFID. One is the active RFID and another is the passive RFID. Active RFID means it is having a battery power, right? So generally whenever the signals are getting, they are going to start going to respond the same. But when in the passive RFID, it is a similar, every function is same. Only the difference is that that is not going to have a internal power, or they are not work on the cell system. So what exactly, whenever the antennas emit the signals, they get some time, so that by their signals they have get electronically charged, and then they start emitting the, or sending their own location. So the working is the same. The active system is having the battery, and a passive system is not having, passive tax system is not having their battery, but the functionality, overall function is going to remain the same. Let's try to understand what is the difference between the two different tags which are available into the RFID category. The first is active and another is the passive. So when in the terms of the power source, as I already stated, active RFID is going to have an internal battery. Passive is not draws the battery or that draws the power from the reader. Means once this reader is emitting the signal, it is electromagnetic field has been created, and then they start to get the power from that, and then they're going to transmit the signal. So it takes them around like 2 to 3 minutes to get them charged, and then going to reflect the signals. Typical lifespan like around 10 years, and passive is unlimited, like they go for 15 to 20 years. So I can reutilize this RFID into my different projects also. Typical capability, right? In active I can read and write. Means once I allocate some system to that, I can rechange it. I can make it do a lot of differences. But passive is only read only. Read range goes for around like active system goes for 30 meters, right? If I want to go beyond the 30 meters, if sometimes my infrastructure project is very big, like in that case I can go for a 30 meter. I just need to install some of the what we called it, that is like a strengthening the signals. They are going to try, like they can for around like 25 to 30 meter range. I'm going to put some kind of antennas which is going to take the signals, and again strongly they're going to emit for the next 30 to 50 meter of the range. So I can put the antenna if I require. Passive is having a 3 to 6 meter of the range. Typical memory size is around 1 megabyte for active. For passive, it goes for around 32 to 128 byte. Means approximately the memory of like a SIM card. Right? You are having a memory also into the SIM card. You are able to save some of the numbers into your phone. Right? So that is the similar memory is also having for a passive type system. Then if I talk about the size, weight, and the cost. So active is little bit of more in the size, even the more in the weight, and even the little bit of more costly as compared to the passive system. But the reader power is like less for a passive and more for the active. If I'm talking about the cost element, so the passive system, it depend upon the how much quantum you are ordering. So I'm just giving the quantum for around like 500 to 800. If I'm giving the quantity this much of number, the cost will be for a passive system goes for around 5 to 8 rupees, and for active system that goes for around like 12 to 18 rupees. That depend upon the vendor to vendor how much competitions are there and how much more number of tax system you are buying for your site. That depend upon that also. Okay. So before we move to the next, any doubt, any concern till the now, just let me know if you have any doubt, or if you're getting it, just say continue so that I can understand and we can continue. Okay, fine. Okay, so let's, many of you have right now not able to, you're able to understand the functionality, but still having a little bit of curiosity, like how exactly that look like. So this is like a brief element, how exactly the RFID look like, right? So you're able to see this is like a paper strip. Okay, so that is having a cover paper, so that's why it is going to like safeguard from all the external environment weathers. So you're able to see the printed brown color lines, right? So they are the antennas transmitting the data, and at the initial stage you're able to see a small chip kind of element, that is basically the power chip, which is having all the power. So in the top paper, a paper label with the RFID inside, so that is all the branding and has been done on the that top strip of the same. There are a lot of competitive technologies. This is not a first time we are using or this is not a first generation of that particular technology. So let's see what are the competitive technology which we use into day-to-day life. For example, barcode. Maximum of your product which you're buying from any kind of a mall or any kind of a recognized manufacturer company, they're having the barcode. OCR, optical character recognition, that is a little bit of expensive, so mostly used into developed countries. Smart card, I can say mostly you have seen the office ID cards having a smart cards. So you just swiping out, it may be punch in, punch out has been done, or door open has been done. So that is called the smart cards. Biometric, you just need to do the punching. Voice, similarly, we are having a biometric. Similarly, we are having a face recognition and even the voice recognition. Now, in that, the most commonly which we have seen, that is the barcode technology, right? That most popular into all this segmental, different competitive segments. So let's try to compare the RFID and a barcode, how the RFID is much more suitable for our industry and why it has been nowadays using and started exploring into our industry. The first of all, barcode, whenever I need to detect the barcode, the product need to be in front of me and barcode detector into the front of that product only. That time only I'm able to recognize it, right? If I'm going to keep my material somewhere around and I'm going to do the scanning here, or I'm not putting the laser in the front of that, that is not going to be detected in the case of the barcode. But RFID is not having any kind of a line of a sight. It can be, it is transmitting the signal for 360 degree. So wherever my material is, I'm able to find it. RFID uniquely identify the items, cases and pellets. Means, as I said, every chip is having a different IDs number, right? So they are going to recognize which is the particular element uh, I want to identify or I want to find it out, right? So they are giving me the exact location of the same. In barcode, I require a proper orientation and not going to be recognized appropriately if I'm going to give 2 to 3 elements at a single go. But RFID is able to recognize all the 3 to 4 elements at a single go. Means simultaneous identification can be done. For RFID, it is a read and write capability for a active RFID systems where the barcode scans only single item at a time. RFID can be work into harsher environment, but barcode need to have a temperature. If you're going to continue scanning, you should have a good cool temperature. Otherwise, it is going to get warm up. It is not going to function that much effectively. Higher reading accuracy is there into the active RFID system. Barcode is cheaper to produce. Right? RFID, if I'm talking about the active RFID, that may be slightly costly as compared to the barcode, but definitely the applications is having much more prospect as compared to the barcode, right? And even the more data can be having a more data storage capacity into my RFID as compared to the barcode element. So there is some kind of a disadvantage of the system also. Right? First of all, definitely the expenses. If I'm talking about a passive tax system, that is going to have almost on the same rate as compared to the barcode technology. But when I'm talking about an active RFID system, so definitely there is a slightly expensive as compared to the passive RFID system, right? Collision. Now, this is one of the issues which we face into the site. What is the collision? Generally what happen, whenever your material, right, is into a confined area, or the area is completely immersed into the water, that time RFID signals are not working appropriately because of the continuously reflection into the confined space, and the metallic properties and metallic and electromagnetic properties are not able to work appropriately. That time the collision effect may be occur. In that, I'm not getting the appropriate exact location of my, or sometimes what happen, for example, just take a case, I am trying to find out some particular size of a scaffold, right? Now this scaffold is there into a very where all the different metals are has been kept around, right? So I want to find out this element, so I have run for this simulation. But what happened, because it's a complete a confined space or it is immersed into the water, so the all the surrounding metals are also getting like activated because of the electromagnetic waves, and I sometimes I may get a wrong signals, like I may be trying to find out this, but the signals of some other thing may be pop it up, so that time I maybe get not exactly the accurate answers. So passive tag system cannot be read near to the metal or the liquid. That is some of the issues which we are having, are not always scanned correctly. I am talking about a passive system. Active is very accurate into the scanning. Like I will give you one data. For example, in one particular project, the backfilling, right? So it has been need to be done for around like 6.7 kilometer outside of the site. So to get the quantum of how many trucks have been moved out of the site for taking care of the backfilling, means like to taking out the excavated material to do the fill or the backfill at outside, right? So that particular moment to get the count, so they have put the active tax system. So every hiva, or we can say the truck, is having the tax system, and the scanner is at the gate, right? So every time they have identified, so when they are trying to see the accuracy of the same, so they are also the counting on the manual basis, right? So what they find it out at a single day, the actual manual count was 76. The actual manual count was 76, but as per the software count is 73. So there is an inaccuracy of 3 count. So that is also they try to find it out what may be the reasons of three inaccuracy. The reason is that sometimes if the truck is passing through, and at the same moment if any kind of other labor or some human is going through, so they have blocked that scanner part of that RFID. So that may be the reason which is not giving the accuracy. Otherwise, it may have clearly counted the exact count of the hivas going out of the site, right? So there is no standard yet because the technology is very new, even for any of the like if you talk about the Indian construction industry. So no standards are still yet, RFID, so no IS code has been specifying that data. It need to be taken a time to get it standardized. The consumer may be worried about the privacy. That is also with some of the things which may facing around when we are pitching to the seniors. But believe me, the if I'm talking about a like passive system or even like active system, right? So they hardly have any kind of a capacity of memory, right? Irrespective uh, their size, they are not even able to store a single AutoCAD file. They're not having that much of memory. So don't worry about that. They're going to fetch any kind of your data or they're going to take your data away. Not possible. So all your confidentiality of your site will be going to remain the same. So no need to worry about the elements. Okay. Before moving to the advantages, let's try to see what are the factors we are going to consider while selecting the RFID system. So what are the things I need to keep in the mind, or whether I should go for buying the RFID for my site or not, or should I suggest the same thing for my senior managers or not. So we need to take care some of the factors. What are the factors are there? First of all, availability of the system provider, right? As if the technology is new, will be not available in all the cities. So I need to check it out. Like for example, I'm knowing it is available into the Mumbai. I know it is available into the Bangalore. I know it is available into the Noida. So I'm not sure it is available in any other particular city. So we need to start studying this. Those vendors or the system providers are available into my site where exactly my project is located or nearby to my project location. Second, what is the cost of the system? When I'm talking about the cost of the system, RFID tag is one part of the same, right? The next is the overall system, whatever the software installation, the maintenance charges, that is inclusive of my cost of the system, which my company need to bear to use this technology, right? So I need to see the overall package of the vendors who's going to provide me. So I need to take care of what is the total cost of my system for my particular project. The life of the system, definitely I need to take care because it may vary from the vendor to vendor, irrespective of the type of the stack system. But it may some of the vendors are taking a warranty of 5 years, some of the taking are the 6 years. So we need to check the lifespan or the life of the system. Operation and maintenance, we need to take care that the software will be get acquainted to my frontline person. So they are giving a workshop or a training for a 1 day or 2 days. In that they're going to tell me all about the software, right? So even the maintenance charges are inclusive into my package, or I need to pay them additionally every year, or whatever the things. I need to check out that element. What are the risk involved? If I'm going to use this technology, risk involved means uh, the vendors are finding out, like if the vendor is small, I'm not sure about his services. Very good evening, right? So I just need to check what are the risk involved in. Even sometimes my company is not that much of uh, handy to adopt the new technologies. So I need to check the culture of my company, impact on my company's culture about using such kind of a technology. And at the last, I need to take care of the budget for the cost of the project. Like whatever the budget I'm going to taking care of this technology. So how much is the percentage, or this much of allocation is there into my project or not? So these are some of the factors which you need to consider whether I'm going to use the RFID technology into my site before going for a pitching to my client or the managers. Okay, so everyone is sorted. Any doubt till now? Just let me know if you have any doubts. Sorted. Okay, just let me know by saying yes so that I can able to get it, that you are getting the concepts. Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Mukesh. Now, yes. So, when I'm talking about a application, just a moment, right? So let me run a poll. Okay. So just tell me, according to you, what may be the application of RFID? Till now, you have understand, you have some kind of a vision or clarity about the RFID to some extent, right? Now, on the basis of your understanding of the topic or on of this technology RFID, in which departments or in which places into our construction industry I can use this RFID. For example, we have seen one example, like I can use into the transportation to get the count of my hivas, right? So this is one of the application for using the RFID, right? According to you, need to pitch me around into this poll, where is the application you find for the construction RFID into our construction industry. Okay, I think the RFID, sorry, I think the IRF team may be sending you the recording, right? And even I have shared all the handouts with them. I'm not sure whether you get on the mail or not. If not, to just ask the IRF team so that they will. Even I'm going to tell from my side, so that they will go to, because I'm not having the email IDs of everyone. So I just send it to the administrative team of the IRF. So definitely they're going to share with you all. I have already shared with them. Okay. So what I want to know, like according to you, where exactly I can use the RFID into our construction industry? Means it may be department, it may be for any kind of a activity. Where are the application parts or application fields in our industry where I can use the RFID? That I want to know. Okay, fine, good. Like Mohit is saying, security of the materials. Yes, security of the material I can use. Managing theft. Yeah, labor attendance. Fantastic. I can use for labor attendance. Logistic. Emmanuel is saying fantastic. George is saying storage of the materials. Yes, I can use for them. Pratmesh is saying material stacking yard. Yeah. Deep excavation site. Okay. Plumbing and electrical ducts. Okay, I can use for that. Okay. I'm also saying provide ability to determine construction progress. ठीक है, to some extent, if I'm putting onto my precast elements, right? So when they have erected, so I can get to know that ki these are the things are road. Okay, fine. To some extent, I'm okay with that. Mangesh is saying security, logistic, and labor. Okay, good enough. Fine. Okay. Now let's see where are the application I can expect of RFID into my industry. The first is the security. Like now, how exactly we can put into the security? Just take a case of, I can say security. Even I can say whenever my labor is coming into my site, right? So if in their iCard, like if they're in the iCard, in the terms of even I can say the security even in the labor productivity, I can use for both of them. How? I will tell you. Just take a case, there is an iCard allocated for all the labors, even for the staff. So there will be the RFID tag within the ID card. So that is not able to see if the card is having front end and back end. So there is a like paper is attached or the tag system is attached between that papers. So it is not able to seen by the labor. Every iCard which I issued, right? So I know this iCard is issued for which gang member, it is a carpenter or whatever, or even the name of the person, I can write it down, right? So that I can devote the colors for the different gangs as per my like my understanding. Okay, that ID card can be used for access control, security control. Whenever they are getting in and out of the gate, I'm able to get it that element. And even because how I said that can be used for a productivity control. Let me tell you, if in the software many of the RFID system what they allowed a boundary line, right? If I'm going to say within this 100 meter, if any person is going beyond 100 meter, whatever as per my project size, just take a case of example of 100 meter. If anyone is moving out of the 100-meter range, I need to get the intimation, right? So whenever any person is carrying out that ID card and moving outside the 100-meter range, so I'm going to get a pop notification, and that point has been shown. Ki this person, it may be showing blue. So blue is the this he's a carpenter of this gang. So I'm going to know that person, that Rohan name of the person who is going beyond the my limitation line which I have stated. It may be their working zone, or it may be my site boundary. So whatever the boundary I have kept for them, they are going beyond. That means he's just doing the time pass into the site, or went for the lunch, or whatever the element. I can easily able to do the access of the same. Next, inventory control. No manual work is required. Definitely, you're having a lot of automation because of using of the RFID. Construction site delivery and logistic. Definitely, uh, if any kind of a material is coming into a surrounding, or it's sometime RMC plants of the concrete, or some kind of other material, I can easily able to do the tracking of the same. Document tracking is very important. For example, the one of the most important and critical element is the billing, right? So whenever our file has been moved from my site, means from me to the client, or generally it depends upon how the flow has been flowing into my site, right? Sometimes from my planning department, it may went to the consultant of the execution team, right? From them, it is going to go for their senior. Then from the senior, it is going to go for a client side. Then from the client side, there is going to go for the accountant. So I should be. It is very difficult for me to track every time. I need to give a call, sir. The file is passed or not. So to tracking that the file is passed from here or here, or now it reached to the accountant. If I am having just a tag system into my file, I am able to find the location. I know, get to know that now it is to my senior consultant, consultancy, right? It is for a senior person cabins, right? Now it is moved to the client side. It is now moved to accountant. So I am having a direct track system. If I'm finding out the file is there for a long time, it may be like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it is there into a like a consultancy firm only. So I can just give a call. Okay, sir, is there any issue, any technical concerns are there, because I'm finding out the file is there into your table from a very long time, right? And it is just look like a paper tag. So it is nothing like that I'm keeping some kind of a changing the file location, file outlook, or such, nothing like. It's just a paper, just like we are having a file paper separator. It's going to look like that only. Right. Location of the buried services, that is a very good part of that, because our industry is having a lot of soil, or everything is mobilized a lot of around, right? So many times there is possibility of the my some of the costly elements or material get fall into the backfilling, or getting the earthen on that. In that cases, RFID is able to trace down the material even if it is buried 2 meter below the ground. Because any of the reason, if soil is followed off, like fall it out on my material, still I am able to identify the material to a 2 meter depth. That is a good part of my RFID system. RFID sensors, even there is some kind of a trial modes are going on, that RFID can be attached to the concrete, right? So that any kind of a changes or thermal things has been changed, there can be able to detect. Even RFID application trying to find it out in the field of dams, right, where we require a lot of monitoring element. So if any kind of a changes are there, that RFID can sense. So some kind of a sensors are tried to put on that RFID. So by using that sensors, RFID is going to give me the signals of this thing is happening on. The concerned person can take their steps accordingly as per the need. Okay. So what I can conclude is that definitely RFID is costly system little bit, but it has having a great advantages over the barcode, right? And even through the technology still has not matured, there is a lot of opportunities are there. When I'm talking about, a lot of sensors can be put it around with the RFID, and a lot of experiments or the trial modes are also going on. Right? Definitely, it's going to have a very good customer service and productivity, more productivity into my side, and that is not that much of cost element. Like it's hardly having very small amount is required, but having a wide range of the application, which makes my site much more safer and easy workflow. Okay, so let's move to the second part of the technology which we're going to explore. But before that, anyone is having any doubt for the RFID technology, let me sort it out, that then we will move to the next technology part. If you're not having any doubt, you can just say yes, continue, or you can go for next. Okay, good enough. So anyone is putting the question? Okay, so I hope we can go for a next, right? Okay, good enough. So let's move to the next. Okay. So next technology is the precast and modular construction I have written. So precast is not a new technology, but to give me the flavor of the modular construction I'm going to start with the precast technology. Let's try to see what exactly that element is. We know that precast technology is like anything which I required. For example, there are two types of technologies. One is the cast in situ, another is the precast. Cast in situ means where I require that element, I am casting there only, right? For example, there is a plan and I require a column here. So if in the plan the column is here and I'm doing the column here means that is a cast in situ. But other than the column is needed here and other than doing here, I may be doing anywhere else. It may be into my site somewhere else, or it may be into the manufacturing plant, or it may be somewhere around the state, other state. That is also fine. So everything come under the category of a precast. So I'm casting somewhere else, that is precast, and then going to assemble at that particular point. So we know that everyone knows that definitely precast is saving lot of time. Like that is saving a lot of time, no doubt. That I can illustrate with a very simple component. For example, if I'm talking about a conventional construction technology and the precast technology, so design and engineering is going to remain the same, going to take the same time for a same scale of a project. It permits and approvals the same time. When you get the permit and approval, right? When I'm going for a conventional way, I need to go for a site development and foundation work, right? Even then, the building construction is going to start. Then I need to go for step by step, right? Until otherwise, I have done with the footing and coming with the plinth, I can't go for the columns above that. Definitely, I need to go step by step. But when I'm talking about a precast, as soon as I get the permits and approvals, I can start building the construction components or my building components into my manufacturing plant. I can start construction with that, right? Then the site development and foundation is going to remain taking the same time, but there are parallel elements which have started when the excavation is started. Because of that, there's already ready material for me. It may be talk about footing, beam, column, slab, whatever, staircase. I just need to do the assembly. I just need to make that assembly or wherever that is, whatever my prospect. Like I may be going for a columns cast in situ and I'm assembling the beam in between, whatever the elements, right? So I'm using, and because of that I'm able to save the time by when I'm using the precast technology. So precast technology we have sorted out, that is fine. But today we are not going to discuss with the precast technology. We are going to discuss the modular construction. Now, before discussing that element, you may have seen in around like 2000, 2009, 10, somewhere around that. Right? In the world, there is a competition is going on. Right? The USA is constructing 18 floor building into 20 days. Right? Then some Germany is making a 34-story building into these days. So a lot of competitions are going on. For example, the India has constructed in 2013 around 10-story building in 48 hours. So yeah, generally a normal six-floor building, eight-floor building taking years to do, and how exactly they are able to make it into a 1 day, 2 day, 48 hours, 56 hours. How exactly that is possible around 10-story building? Everything is possible in the modular construction, right? Basically, modular construction is advanced level of the precast technology. Okay, let's. I think there's some kind of a format issue. I will try to share my screen here. Just a moment. Okay, I am sharing the screen. So you're talking about prefabrication technology, right? So it is a combining component that already been cast in. Right? In when I'm talking about a modular construction, so all the things as per the requirement of the client or as per the requirement of the sites, tailor-made fittings are available. So when I'm talking about modular, that doesn't mean I'm not able to do the changes as per my requirement. No, as per your requirement, only the modular has thing has been prepared. Right? I can say in simple way, if I'm try to understand in a very layman language, difference between the precast and the modular construction. Right? Just take a case. If I'm precasted somewhere around and I'm assembling into a wall, or it may be a slab, or it may be a staircase, or it may be a beam, or it may be a column. If I'm adding into individual components, that is basically precast technology. But when I'm talking about a modular means it is a one unit. It's a set of the unit. So when I'm taking care of the, if my it is a residential building and I'm having a 1 BHK, 2 BHK configuration. So when I'm taking care of the whole mold of my 1 BHK, that is going to called as a modular construction, and that is a difference from the precast technology which we are using. Right? So when I'm talking about a Mohali case, the building which we have constructed in 48 hours, right? So for that particular, the team of only 200 people has been using. Only 200 people, 200 laborers are doing the work for 48 hours, and they're able to do erection of 200 tons of approximately 10 floor building of 25,000 square meters, which is also embedded into the Limca Book of World Record for construction of the 10-story building into 48 hours. Now, the person who designed it, that is a C. Sayal sir, who is the professor in Punjab Engineering College. So, according to him, if I'm having any concern that sir, modular construction building is going to have a lifespan, according to him, the lifespan for that building is somewhere around 600 years, which is much more better than the RCC construction, right? And if we're talking about sir, whether this kind of a structures are able to sustain the earthquake resistance, so let me make it very clear, they are much more resistant to the earthquake because it's not going to be have a like solidified as compared to the uh, our RCC building. Just take an example of, I will tell you one interesting fact here. Just take a case. If I'm talking AC block, that's a different story. But when we are trying to have a mortar, right? When we are trying to have a mortar in between the bricks, it may be a red bricks, or take a case of AC block bricks. This motor is definitely the main function of the motor is making a key element. But the other function is that if any kind of a horizontal force means earthquake is coming around, right? So this motor, which is not that much of solidify as compared to the blocks or the bricks, so they try to absorb the energy, the horizontal energy they used to absorb. For example, if here I'm getting around x, so in this part I'm going to get some x minus some values because in between the motor try to absorb that energy. But if the complete wall is solid, right? In that case, if any kind of a earthquake is there, so whatever the shock I am getting here, the same shock I am going to get because it's completely solid. But when I'm talking about a modular construction, they're having a nut fittings. So the possibility of absorbing the energy is more. That I can reflect it by the some of the very important example. When talk about a building deflection, right? So generally, a scale of 10-story building of that particular zone give a deflection of somewhere around 123 mm, right? But the same building of this design of modular construction give a deflection of only 49 mm. So you're able to see it is much more double secured as compared to my RCC construction. Okay, let's move. Okay, so now some of us asked the question, why is modular method important for buildings? Okay, so let's see modular method. Why I'm saying I'm not saying it's important or not important. The reason is that as we are aware that in our construction industry, time is a cost, right? Definitely, the more timing is there, a lot of overcost is involved. The more expenditure is involved. the amount which I need to spend because of the high cost, or we can say the large uh, time for construction, I am able to put the cost into the terms of the rapid construction. Wherever I want a rapid construction, I will give you one example. If you talk about why it is needed, right? Just take a case of COVID scenario, right? If I need to do any kind of a hospital construction, if I need to do any kind of a element in a conventional way, I may require lot long span. But by using a modular construction, I am able to do large number of the hospital in a very short span. Just take a case, any country is going for any kind of a international competition or international conference, right? In which lot of countries are going to come. Let's just take a case like, for example, Japanese is going for conduction of Olympics for 2024. Just take an example of 2032. So in that particular case, they need to make lot of stadiums. If they go for conventional way, it's going to take us some time. There may be possibility of getting the delay of the project and all that stuff. So definitely they are trying to go for some kind of a technology which is very rapid, so that I'm going to have a lot of time into my hand. So if any kind of a modification into done, because in international level, when I need to take care of that, I can't take a risk of building till the last. Right. So this kind of a technology plays a very, very important role in that particular prospect. Okay. So if I'm talking about the advantages of the modular construction, so definitely the speed, like as per some of the surveys which I'm getting, so the speed is approximately 50% time you're going to save if I'm going to use for a modular construction. That is minimum I'm talking about. Right? If I'm talking about the cost, so as per the FMI Corp, which is known for a lot of data analysis, right? So they are saying you're going to save in around 5 to 10% in the labor cost when you're switching to the modular construction. Quality, definitely, as you are able to construct that modular units into the controlled environment, so quality is much more higher, right? Very high quality, much more better finishing you are getting it. Wastages are very less, right? Inside you require lot very less space to for storage. So where the compact is the site where the FSI is very high, right? And the site is very small because it's a high-rise building, so you're not having much of the space to keep the materials. So in that particular case, I can easily able to go for a modular construction. The labor cost definitely is on a lower scale. Supply chain management, greater control over the supply chain management. I don't need to depend upon lot of different vendors on lot of different materials. I can have a very good control on that. Minimal impact on your business, right? For some kind of a project where I know right now I'm not having that much of cash flow, but in the future, without hampering my current building or current business, I want to go for extension. Just take a case, I'm constructing an institute. Okay, I know that after some like 3 years, I'm going to increase more three-story into my school building, right? But I know that school building I can't, like if I'm increasing more two-story or three-story, means I need to close the building completely for minimum 6 months or 1 year. So I can't stop my school or college or my university for 2 years or 1 year or even for 6 months, right? So how I can do the construction? So in that case, I can use go for a modular construction, because even after the university or college or school is over, I can do the construction into remaining 5 to 6 hours, and still I am able to progress my work accordingly without hampering my existing business, right? Custom made options are available. Whatever the changes I want to do, I can easily able to do, and there is a very less wastages into my site with no doubt. Definitely there is also going to have a limitations, right? First of all, the if I'm not going to follow, so such kind of accident may be happen into my site, right? Even the unavailability of the technology, that is one of the issue which we are having. Skilled labor, those who are knowing the modular construction, that is a lack. Even the lack of the standards, right? I will give you an example, like Modulus India, right? So like Modulus India, like if I'm talking about now in the prospect of the India, when I'm talking about, so like Pune, Mumbai is very good into the construction developments, right? So the Modulus India is invested somewhere around 100 crore, and they have made a factory into the Indapur, so they can give their materials, send their materials for the Pune and the Mumbai real estate or the construction industry businesses. Right? So that is there are a lot of technologies are driven into the country. Okay. Fine. Still, I'm getting it that you maybe understand the basic concept, but still there may be some kind of a concerns you may be having, like how exactly it will be done into the site, right? So I will illustrate you one video. that is going to sort it out all your concerns and the doubts. So I'm just sharing my screen. Okay, so just let me know if you're able to see the screen. Okay, I hope you're able to see it. So in this, as a Pune site only, there are total 36 modules. These are the complete module. So if you're able to see, all the metrics are within that module only. The project is started at somewhere around 3:30 p.m. So till the 5 p.m., almost half of the work is done. Till 6:15, all the 36 modules has been kept into their places. Then bolting down of the units will be taken care. Safety verification has been put it around. So the bottom, the ground floor is working as functional as, sort of not hampering my current business. After 3 weeks, the complete work has been done in all the respects, even with the interiors, all the plumbings, all the electrical, all the water sanitary has been fixed. Within the 3 weeks, the complete office setup is ready to use. So this is the way it work upon. Okay, so now you get better clarity how exactly the modular construction has been doing the work into the site. Okay, now let's move to the next technology. Yes, that is the 3D printing technology. Yes, everyone is like enjoying the 3D movies, like 3D animations, everything in a very good VFX. Everyone enjoys. Similar way, 3D printing, like if in around like 5 years before or 10 years before, if anyone said like uh, you're able to do make a construction of a building by 3D printer, you may have laughed on that, right? But today this technology is possible. Let's try to see what exactly the technology is, how it works upon, what is the status of different world, how much they have advanced. Let's try to explore that. Let's start with the basic concept. I can say 3D printing is a process. Is the metal based on the steel container model or the precast models? No. Basically, that is not. They are not using the RCC, right? They are having a prefabricated material. It is not a steel. Steel is a little bit of heavy, so they are using the steel just for the frames. It is a prefab material, plastic origin. In that, it's like highly thick. It is not going to break that much of easily, and the frames are is using of a steel. If I'm going to use the completely steel, it's going to be very heavy for me to do the erection. Okay. Yeah. So the process of making a three-dimensional solid objects from a digital file, that is basically 3D printing. So if I'm talking about the current scenario into the world, let's try to understand of a way first. So, Dubai has constructed its first 3D printer house into 2016. Right? So now that is a very advanced when you talk about construction technologies. So Dubai is one of the very advanced place where the high technology is used in the very initial stage. Right? Till 2030, they are planning that whatever the construction activity is going to go into this country, approximately 25% will be done by the 3D printers. Right? And the first office which they have done into their place, that has been done in 17 days and only by using the 18 people. Okay, so we are going to explore. I'm going to show that before moving to the next. I'm just going to show you how exactly the 3D printer has been done into that Dubai. Right? Then we will try to see the other insights. But let me tell you, like there is a lighter. If I'm talking about current scenario, the highest floor of the building is done into the world is only a two-story building. Okay, not much more than has been done. Before I move to the much more detail of the technology, I will try to showcase you the video so that we will getting how exactly the work has been done. Then we will move to the next part. So you can give any kind of a shape, any kind of a bend by using the 3D printers, which is very difficult with the modular form works. Okay, so now let's see. Let's get into more element. Okay, so let's talk about the first 3D printing into the India. Right. So as we have said in Dubai, if you talk about any of the before technologies, like when we talk about adopting the technology into the Indian construction industry, if you talk about like precast also, it has taken approximately 2 decades to come into the country. Right. But now we are seeing the developing countries are adopting advanced technology in a very speed way. Just take example of a 3D printing technology. The Dubai has done its first structure into 2016, right? And it has done its first 3D setup in 2018. It was just a small watchman cabin kind of a stuff done by the to demonstrate into Tavasta manufacturing solutions, right? So the right side image you're able to see that is India's first 3D small structure in 2018. Right? And similar way, you're able to see the 26.3-meter bridge in Shanghai. That is also made of the precast only. Sorry, that is also made in the 3D printing technology only. Now, when I'm talking about, even if you've seen in 2019, India has done a complete bungalow, like around like 600 square feet, completely in April 2019. Right? First completely independent bungalow with using of 3D printing technology. And still there are around 4 to 5 places are there where the 3D printing technology is working upon in different projects of Tata, L&T. Now, when I'm talking about I have taken a different snapshot of different small simulation models done in all over the world, because many of the countries are trying to use the 3D printing technology for building construction, but they're just making a try, taking the learnings into the simulation model of the small structures. So, how exactly it works upon, how the 3D technology works upon? Let's try to understand the steps. First, you have done the beam model, right? Building information model. In that, you're going to have a statue-like graphics files. It's like same like a layers. Different layers are there. Slicing are there. Right? That input, right? And you need to use the software of the 3D printers. Right now, for in the world, there are around four 3D printer construction 3D printers manufacturers are there. Other plastic manufacturers are there. 3D printers who is doing the work in plastics. But if I'm talking about a construction 3D printers, so only four manufacturers are there into the world. So whatever the machine you are using of a 3D printer, the same software you need to use for creating the slicing and the layering as per the software, right? Then first you need to do a small simulation model. Simulation model means you need to just make a small model, right? In that you need to just see the consistency of the concrete, how much time it is taking to set, any kind of a modification you need to do into the proportion, any kind of a adhesive you need to add, you need to just check it out. And first you need to do the simulation means before starting of the project, all the elements has been intact to each other, that you need to check it out, means all the drawings are closed. If any kind of a spaces are there, that is not able to, machine is not able to recognize it, and it is going to show the error, right? Then you're going to feed the material, like for example right now we are using the concrete only, right? But there are tests are going on in which they're trying to mix the soil with some of the adhesive, and making some of the like soil small ground floor structures into the rural areas for rapid constructions, right? And then the 3D printer is going to work for your building. If I'm talking about the advantage, just a moment. Yes. So if I'm talking about advantage of the 3D printing technology, so there are a lot of advantages are there, no doubt in that. But before that, now the one of some of the issues which you may be face, like in the face, I want to say, uh, you may be having a query, ki, sir, when the 3D printer is working, right? So you may have seen they are just working like a Colgate kind of element, like you are using the paste, you're just putting a pressure, so there is a gel is coming out, right? Similarly, 3D printer is also erecting the concrete. So they are moving in this element with some slow speed, and they are moving in the horizontal way. Generally, whenever we are doing the construction into our real life scenario into our site, we are going in vertical way. They are doing in horizontal way. The reason is that when you're going to complete horizontal way throughout, it give a time to settle down the first layer which you have put it around. So when the first layer is set it around, so wait till the like the robotic arm going to reach to the first layer which you have poured, that has been set, and then it is going to put the second layer around that. Okay, so all the pores you are able to see, that is going to fill as per the local conditions. For example, if it is a cold place, you're going to fill with the foam, so the temperature is to come inside, right? Sometimes we used to keep as hollow as possible, so that depends upon as per my local site scenarios and the condition. Even some of the tests are going on using the geopolymers, using the concrete with the geopolymers. Even the GFRC, that is the glass reinforcement concretes, are trying to use in the combination with the concrete into the 3D printers. So when I'm talking about the advantages of the 3D printer, so definitely reduction in the cost. How it is going to reduce the cost? Less machines are required. You're not going to require a lot of different tools. Labors are required less. Less travel time you required, and less wastage of the metal is going to be there. Even you're going to save a lot of time into the transportation. No need to depend on lot of the vendors. You're going to save the time on that. Reduce time, like even the complex design. Even if you have seen the 3D, like the office of 3D Dubai, first 3D modeler office of Dubai. So they are making a curved space. Even if you have seen the Indian building that has been created into IIT Madras, if you're going to see now the front canopy is completely a curved part. If I need to do the canopy of a curved part with my conventional technology, it is very complex for me to do. But with the 3D printing technology, I can give whatever the shapes I want. No need to concern about the form work and the time going to take for that. It's a matter of some hours for me to create that element. Stay ahead of the competition, definitely to provide the enhanced competitive advantage, right? Communicate the product better, much more quality you can expect. If you have done enough simulation runs, you'll make sure that the consistency of the cement motor, you're going to find it appropriately. Now that is one of the biggest challenge which you're going to find it out, right? The proportion of the cement motor, you need to be very very careful. It is not like that the way we are going for M20 M25, right? It is not that. You need to do some kind of a simulation, one or two. You need to check it out as per your site scenarios and which weather you are constructing that, right? How much time it is going to take that absorb so that I can put the next layer, how much consistency or workability I need to keep so that my pump is working, the 3D printer is working very smoothly around, not getting stuck after hours and hours, right? Or get heated up. So I need to make sure that by doing the simulation models. Next, confidentiality of the project, specifically in some of the projects where there is a project of defense or some kind of a satellite like projects are there where you need to keep a confidential, or it may be some kind of a manufacturing plant which they want to keep secrecy of that plant or whatever the element, right? In that particular case, whenever if I'm going for a use of conventional building, right? Definitely I don't want, I need to involve a lot of vendors, I need to involve a lot of laborers. When I'm using them or when I'm taking the help of the laborers or vendors or subcontractors, definitely I need to share the details with them. I maybe need to share the drawings with them. In that particular case, the confidentiality of the project may be loose. Right? 3D printer is one of the technology which is going to make sure that the confidentiality of the project is going to remain intact in your project. You no need to go for losing of the same. That is a important element. Next, if I'm talking about the production on the demand, that is one of the advantage. There is no need to, you're going to keep a stack, or you need to control or having some kind of inventory. No need to bother about the same. As per the demand is there into the site, you can start the production of the as per the demand, right? It is fully customizable. Whatever the things requirement as per the client, you can able to do the customs changes into your drawings, and that is going to do the actual costing of the same, right? The photo if you're able to see into the image, that is actually what why I put it around, like that is the project done by a graduate student, right, in Baylor University in 2016. So this house has been created in 24 hours. Okay, definitely high quality is available and more safety is there. Definitely one of the technical issue I will tell you about. When we are constructing a building, if you're having a openings like door and windows, that time uh, you need to just like the 3D, as you're going to give the drawings now, so they're going to give a space, empty space in between. So the distance they're going to do analysis of the same, they're going to keep a proper distance, right? If you need to provide some kind of a building or like a wall above the opening, so definitely you need to provide a lintel, then you can just do the construction on the lintel also. So this is the technical glitch which we are going to get while doing the construction activity. Now just let me know. Now we have seen the advantages, right? But my concern is, what are the disadvantages of the 3D printing technology? According to your understanding, what may be the disadvantages of using the 3D printing technology? Advantages we have seen. Definitely, there are a lot of advantages of the 3D printing technology. Okay, good enough. Okay, fine, fine. That was the expected concern. Yes, okay. Right. Many of you have said like material limitations. Yeah. Okay. Very early stage, expensive. Yes. Not available much around the globe. Yes. Restricted size in the height. If you are talking about, okay, fantastic. Less labor, so it will be increased unemployment of non. Okay. High quality will be advantage. No, definitely. If you want to say that you can't deplete the quality, because definitely it is going to be a automation, so definitely high quality will be maintained. Yeah. Mm, okay. Around 3 to 4 of you said the same reason. Probability of reducing the job for unskilled labor, or there may be a job scarcity is there. Yeah. May the computer crashes and you lose out. Okay. Yes. Design can be tedious. Design tedious, not that much of cost of the process. Okay, fantastic, fantastic. But what I see, and many of you may be having a concern, we will try to sort it out, that if the 3D printing will be used for a larger scale, eh, definitely it may have an impact on the job or employment. Definitely, that is a very good concern. Takes away the job, limited size, and material design accuracy. Okay, fine, fantastic. Now let me tell you very some of the facts. Right? If I'm talking about right now in the world, the highest floor is used in the Italy for 2 floors. Right? Even if I consider like this is possible for around 3 stories, now we don't know the future. It may be not possible for a high-rise building or even more than the 6 stories building. Right now, which is highest in the world is 2 stories. Right? Next thing, very important. When the world is adopting the precast technology, right? That time the same concerns are having for that time of a professionals. Everyone is saying, oh, when precast is done, the labors is going to require very less. No one is going to use the labors, because it is very, where I require right now 300 labors, I may be required only 30 labors, because everything is precast. But what we are able to see, irrespective, I'm able to do a lot of fast construction because of their technology. Still not everyone is adopting that technology. There is a lot of limitations are there. There are a lot of, like, I can say, we need to take a call on the scale, we need to take a call on the cost, client requirement, developers are having a time, they're not so, not everyone want to go for adaptation of this kind of elements. That we need to understand. So irrespective, you may be concerned with other job, not going to much happen, because the same thing was there when the precast is going to come into the country. Everyone's saying when precast is going to come, labor is going to require less. But believe me, construction industry right now in the India, the second highest employment provided by any of the industry. The first is the agriculture industry, and second highest provided into the country is construction industry. Okay, and we have taken adaptation of the precast very like around 3 decades before, but still we have using the highest number of the employment into that sector. So don't bother about that element. Okay, next, definitely it may be impact to some extent, but not that much of that it is going to take away the jobs of many. One, not going to happen that much of, right? No doubt, every many of you said that it is going to be expensive. Yes, it is going to be expensive. Limited material right now is there, plastic and concrete only they're working upon, right? And some kind of a geopolymer tests are going on, but till now only this much of limited material they're going to use. Lack of standard, definitely, as the technology is very new, the standards are there to set it up, and it is going to take some of the time to get it around the standards. Okay. Now the thought for the day is, let our advanced worrying become our advanced thinking and the planning. That is the Winston Churchill. Now I have already shared the handouts with the IRF team, right? So mostly like tomorrow or day after tomorrow, they are going to share the whole, because they are having all your email IDs. Okay. So it was a great learning with you all. Right? So if you have any doubts, just let me know. If you're not, we will end of the session. Even I want to take some more sessions for the, but we're having limitations of 4 sessions only, so not an issue.